Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're calling in from the world. Just want to take a moment and say, yeah, we had a little mix up with the scheduling of the live stream, but I'll typically do these on Sunday night, so sorry about that if that messed you up. But we're ready to roll, ready to get going here. And a lot of super chats have already come in already, so that's good that you guys send those requests because I can get those done ahead of time. It makes our live stream go faster for people that want to join and ask later. So we can jump into it. All right, the market, for those that don't typically follow me or new, as you know, we have this strategy that we're using right now where we're buying in three waves in buying the trends. So we're not trying to top tick the market. We're not trying to guess the top. We know we're pretty extended from April, right? Pretty extended, just these small little pullbacks. But Elliott wave theory, continues to support more upside for now. There's another count that we could see develop, where you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we kind of peak right around this area. Even on Friday was the peak, and that could pull us back down, maybe down another 1,000 points here, and that would correct this cycle from August. The other possibility is like what I have shown here, where you get a smaller pullback, 300 points or so, and then we continue higher. But we don't really worry about the count on our channel, or is it the top or not the top, because there's no trade-in decision to be made. We only trade the boxes when they're hit, and they're either short or sell or buy. And right now we're buying in three waves. So it doesn't really matter what the count is unless you're not following my strategy. And then you're on your own, and then you can use your information that I provide, as you see fit. But as you know, Elliott waves on itself is not a predictive tool that's with 100% certainty. It just shows you different possible paths. It's a way to show the possible paths and communicate, where we have gone and where we could go. But you really can't make trade-in decisions just on the wave count because it could be so many different combinations. And then what we do is we use RSI and Fibonacci levels with help with Elliott waves is more of a guide and an idea, not the Bible. It's not Holy Scripture where we follow religiously and we don't look at every single tick at every single time frame and go through every single subdivision, because that's too long and it's not possible to be accurate in trading that way. But there are people that do that, and I'm sure you can subscribe to those people if you're interested in that type of analysis. But my analysis has always been we trade the boxes as they come. So we're at an important moment. The reason I talk about this is we're at an important moment in the next 4 or 5 weeks. I think it's going to be a very difficult trade-in. I think if you are joining the trend now at this point in the cycle, there's a good likelihood you're going to be underwater in 4 to 5 weeks on your position. If you go out and start new positions next week, I believe those positions will be underwater at some point. The people that bought earlier in the trend are a lot better control, and I think that's not likely. But if you're buying up here, just understand there how we extend, how this impulse finishes. We have a couple possible paths. We could finish up like a 5 and drop hard, right? Buying up in here would be pretty silly to do that, because you would just lose all that money. The other possibility is you do chase it and you get lucky and we pump even more, and then we really have a massive pullback, and then we still lose these gains. So my point is it's late to be chasing. So as we go through your symbols and I talk about it, you're going to see a lot of 4s and 5s. You're going to see a lot of extended cycles that need a healthy pullback. But that's a short-term trade. That's the 4 to 5 week cycle that is coming. But after that, I still see a good amount of upside on the longer term cycle, on the grand super cycle. So if you're a short-term trader, you better strap in. You better get ready. You better understand what you're getting into in the next 4 to 5 weeks. I think it's going to be a tough environment to day trade unless you bought positions earlier in the cycle and you can withstand these whipsaws. If you didn't and you want to start a new position like Monday, you better think you better really have a good strategy if you're going to try that, which I don't recommend unless you get a 3-wave pullback to buy. So the next 4 to 5 weeks, I think, could be volatile, and then when that time passes, the market will continue the trend again, and I think even accelerate higher. Even more than what we've seen in April coming off of those lows. So that's kind of what I think is going to happen. I don't think it's just a super pump from here. I don't think it's a super crash from here. I think it's, a little bit more upside and then a big strong pullback to shake out the weak hands, to get rid of the late chasers that blow them up, get everyone bearish again, and then we come out of it. And then we really run. And then I think we run through the next several years with pullbacks. Nothing's in a straight line. So use this if we do get this big volatility event in the next 4 to 5 weeks. You want to use that to buy the indices or buy stocks you may have missed off the April lows. Those would be on sale, and those are the stocks you really want to target. Those would be the Teslas, the AMDs, the Nvidias, Microsoft. You go through those are the stocks when that weekly cycle pulls back. That's the stocks you really want to be looking at on your shopping list, I think, and that's kind of where my head is now. When we get that weekly cycle pullback, that may not mean every sector is going to crash. We may see a sector rotation where perhaps the miners moon, silver moons, gold moon, I don't know, or perhaps we get energy. Decides to take off and not drop, and the connector goes and oil jumps. And so you don't want to also think, you have to also think multidimensional, that it's, maybe the indices and big cap tech could pull back, but that doesn't mean everything in the market, every stock, every symbol, every sector will pull back either. There may be another sector or two actually breaking out in the wave 3 as the market is pulling back. The big cap tech and 2 off of either the August low here or the September low. So that's what we have in front of us. So I hope that helps you kind of think about risk management right now and kind of tempers your expectations for the next 4 weeks or so. But make no mistake, if we get a volatility event, that is a great buying opportunity for the market, and you should be ready to take advantage of that. So now we're going to go ahead and jump into our requests, and I have quite a few. It seems to be growing every live stream, which is good, and I'm glad I can help you guys kind of navigate. I may have to do more live streams, break this up a little bit if I can. I may try to, maybe I could fit a midweek one in, and that may help break up some of this. Because it's hard to stay on more than 2 hours typically. Okay, let me see if I can find where we are. I got to go to our requests where we started. I think we started at GME here. GME. Okay, so we're starting with GME. The question is it now in wave 5? Well, not yet. It doesn't. And again, it depends on what degree. But I think right now we're in a wave 4. It looks like a triangle for wave 4 that should be coming to an end for one more push higher. This would be your wave 5, right? And then you would correct this leg here, and then that could pull back again, and then we could see more upside. If I was kind of just thinking about GME, this is kind of what I think the bigger picture could look like, where you come back up, you find resistance on this bigger consolidation where it's been rejected consistently. So we pull back, we come up, we find resistance around 30, maybe we can even get to 31, and then you get that big, correction I've been talking about, and then maybe we retest this area. And that's what I'm saying. If you're taking a new position here, you may be happy, but then you may lose it all, right? You may end up with nothing. That's what I think is, anyone chasing here, it will end up with nothing. Anyone who bought down here will likely survive whatever this is, whatever that is. You're likely to survive that. But if you're chasing it here, and maybe even on this pullback, if this comes, I wouldn't be surprised if it does something like that. So you have to manage your trade accordingly. And of course, we don't. That's the most likely view. The most, but there is a possible path where it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you get a back test, and then you just go and it goes vertical. So we don't like to time the market either. We only buy the boxes. So there's no box. So there's no box here. So there's nothing to buy. But if you were a member, program member, were long and profitable, we hold. Now, if you're here, you are entering a 5. So to answer your question, I think you are. How can you tell? Well, that looks like a 4 with that pattern. Look at all that bearish divergence on all the, I think pretty much all the time frames except for the 4-hour, which I think it will make divergence here. That's when it makes that push up on 5. That will complete the bearish divergence, and then you have your 5. Now, we all know, if you've been following me for a long time, we never top tick a wave 5. We never trade the count. This is where Elliott Wave traders blow up their accounts. Ask what happened on Okolo if you tried to top tick a perceived wave 5. You got blown up last week. You got blown up. What appeared to be a slam dunk wave 5, like you see here, ended up doing something like this. So we can also see that, and what that would be is a 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, we see this as a 4. 2s don't have this pattern typically, so it would be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So that would be very, very bullish, right? So why would I ever short? Never. So that's why buying here is so important and not buying anywhere up here. But to answer your question, yes, we're going into a 5. This is the most probable view, but it's not the only view. All right, going on to the next question. UEC has been really popular. It's one that we've kind of traced out for a while on our channel. And again, we're seeing that go into a 5 and perhaps a bigger pullback. It's in blue skies, so there's no chart history. We're in unknown waters, so it could do a lot of different things from here. So I just like to stay long from our boxes. Again, elite members had this box. Lost the live stream. Hold on. Sorry about that, guys. It looks like somehow the connection was lost, but we're back. Okay, so going back into UEC. So that was UEC's in a 5. So that means we're going to get a 4 and another 5. This 4 could take a little bit of time to consolidate, and then we have a bigger pullback. Ultimately, you want to see UEC stay above this level, the previous all-time high. It could easily come back and backtest that later. But again, buying it here doesn't matter. I want to stay long. I'm not ready to get out of it because, again, this is a 18-year cup and handle that broke out. It's not going to end in 18 days or 18 weeks. You're talking years of gains. Years of gains. Why would anyone give up their position? Why would anyone try to time the market? We saw what happened in uranium the other day. We had stocks up 25-30% day, and then the next day it happened again. So we're not going to do that. Like it's not recommended. So if you get a 3-wave pullback, buy it. But I would not recommend timing the market on UEC. Okay, the next symbol is Soundhound. Soundhound. The question is, looks like it made 5 waves up, pull back. Well, again, we don't top tick the market. We don't care about the pullback target because right now we have a breakout. So I see more of a breakout risk than a breakdown risk. The only bearish path that I could see it could follow right now is if we pull back in this 2 a little deeper, maybe back down to 1540 on this 3-wave dip here. That could provide an potential entry for traders. If you're aggressive, you want to, really try to, rejoin this trend a little late, of course, but maybe not too late if the count's right. There's that. It could already be finished. We'll know Monday. And that's the count. Now, of course, could it be a big 3 waves up, right? And then we come back down in a double. Let's take a look. Typically, we would want to see divergence erased. We barely did on that peak on the 4-hour. So yeah, technically it's possible. It's possible. So yes, there is a possible path for a double correction, but it would have to stay below the peak of 1662, and that would do a double correction on 2. And then you would have 3 waves, and then you would be looking at this gap fill. And that would be a pretty catastrophic decline, right? Given where we are. So it's not the preferred view, but it's not impossible. I think here's your wave 4. So I think it's likely to pull back here into this box. I think it's likely to pull back here, but it doesn't have to, right? I want to see it go higher, and it's been grinding higher. Taking out this high was pretty significant in my opinion. Okay, now taking out obviously that high would be even more significant. I don't see 13 happening. I think 13 would be, if 13 happens, then it's going to fill the gap. It would be worse than that. So this is where I see the pull. If we get a pullback, this is the pullback area. If not, it's already, the dip's gone. It's ready to go on Monday, and we'll know tomorrow. Okay, SOLT. SOLT, we're pulling back. You see this lower low here as a short-term trader. We see that as impulsive to the downside, or it's a very shallow connector in 3 waves. So it's either going to do something like this, where it's going to finish A and come back up and then make another move down, or it's going to do a double, a tight double with a very shallow connector and just kind of crash back down to 26.21. So where are we going to go? I don't know. I don't really know yet. We can look at Solana and see, and Bitcoin, but they're holding their structures as of tonight. Now that could change, right? That can always change. Solana's even holding its structure. Now Solana breaks that low, it does open you up for that bigger drop to 223, 220. So SOLT would drop with it. So then you'll get that bigger dump, right? If you don't, it could hold the structure and go higher. But if we finish the 5 here, we can go to the 4-hour cycle. We can see it's ready to reset and go to oversold. This cycle's ready to reset down. The daily cycle also is ready to break down as well from the low, this low here. And that would be the first warning sign the whole cycle's over, which we already anticipate it could be. You see where we're heading. So we're not, the cycle isn't over yet, but it's definitely going to have, I think it's likely to pull back here, bounce, and then it's going to be 50-50. And this, I think, where your SOLT comes into play. I think this is where SOLT comes into play. Later is basically you're going to get, you could get a little bit more downside in that A wave I was talking about. You don't get the dump. That's you get something like this. You get a little lower. You bounce and you go down. That would be the daily cycle. That would be the wave 5. And then the other scenario is you just chop around, sideways maybe. Or you can erase divergence here real quick, which you're about to do, and it truncates and X truncates. So I know you're asking. I don't know if you're trying to time the market, but it's not recommended, because whatever happens here, you're likely to be up here. So this is the middle area. It's notoriously inaccurate. It's notoriously hard to trade. Never would trade it. Now, if we did dump into this box, I would buy that, but in here I wouldn't trade it. So I think right now I would just go with something like this. I would go with something like this for now. I think that's what you should expect. Okay, something like that. And then you can, correlate that to Solana any way you want to. But that's kind of what I think you should expect. Okay, I hope that helps. The next question here, and again, this would also raise the target, by the way, if that happens. So that's another thing. That target would raise. All right. So the next question is, I read the Bank of Japan will start selling 520 billion of its ETF holdings, which caused the Nikkei to fall yesterday. What indication besides the Japanese yen and VIX will warn of a carry trade crash? Well, we got the carry trade crash right in August 24. I mean, I was the only channel that predicted it, that you could trade off of that news and avoid the calamity and profit from it. Now, other professionals did call that. They're out there. They saw that coming and were predicting it, but they aren't trade. How do you trade from it? Well, we sidestepped that landmine. We did. How did we use it? We used the Japanese yen and the VIX. So unfortunately, those are the two biggest indicators, right? That's the two biggest. Now, we could watch the Nikkei. I do remember the Nikkei did start to sell off early, but that preceded that event. So maybe that is a warning sign. Let's go take a look at the Nikkei real quick and see how it's doing on its cycle. So looking at the Nikkei right now, it's kind of looking at it. It looks like it's still got more upside in its cycle. So this is likely going to be a dip that would be bought. So it's not over yet. So I think you at least get one more high before you could have a volatility event, because this could become a 1-2-1-2, right? And 3 can extend, right? 1-2-1-2, and we extend, or we go a little bit longer than people think, right? And we go and we do top in 5, and then the whole thing is, and then you'll be correcting. You'll be correcting the major peak unless you erase divergence. So that would be the end. That would be something, right? Because look what happened. See how this is that carry trade collapse. If we can get the whole cycle finished in the Nikkei, that would be the warning sign, right? But remember, the carry trade didn't collapse until here, around here. Not here, it was here. So if we see this climb to the top and we see a big drop, that's the warning sign, right? A big drop like that, because then it will consolidate more, and then you'll have that. Then you'll have that kind of move, right? And then you'll start to make, this top. So my thinking is it's not ready yet. It may have been a tremor for the incoming earthquake that I keep talking about. That was a tremor. So that 2% is like someone took some profit. Someone market sold, took some profit, and they're gonna probably do that again up here. And it's gonna be another tremor, and then it's gonna be another, and then you're gonna have boom, but that's just wave 1, A, and then that's like, hey, it's time to get out of Dodge, right? That's the warning sign, right? So I don't think this is it. I think the cycle's incomplete, but I can be wrong. So those are the things we're looking at. Okay, that's what I'd be looking at, because the carry trade issue comes from Japan. So you have to look at the Nikkei, you have to look at the yen and volatility index, and they're all tied together. I think it's all tied together. I think it's the same person, the same entity manipulating all those things, and it manifests itself into this carry trade, and they use it to melt the market up, to manipulate the market higher until it doesn't work anymore, and then it ends in a calamity, which is what happened back here. But just remember, our service, at the time we sidestepped that, because when this happened, big cap tech broke down hard in this wave. So we're happy trading just like we are now. And then we started to see those big breakdowns. I mean, I'm talking big breakdowns. And that's when I'm like, okay, we need to leave the market. Now, a lot of people got mad at Elliott Wave Sage for doing that. But then they were like happy later. They were like, oh, I was really angry, but now I'm very happy. And that's probably what's going to happen with everyone that follows me when this time comes. When eventually this thing will end, right there. Little earthquake I'm talking about. I'm going to say, hey, it's time to get defensive. Maybe you want to, get some puts or whatever you want to do. And they're going to get mad. They're going to say, oh, you're so bullish. You should. But I'm trying to have you guys avoid this. And then when this is over, the trend could continue, which I think it will. So This is something to think about, guys. Okay, but this is the count we're going with, and it could keep melting up, and it could erase divergence, and it could just keep extending. So we just don't know how close we really are to the top, but I don't think it's over yet, right? And we have the Japanese yen we've talked about as well, and our basic members get all that information. But I think in 4 to 5 weeks we're going to see a little earthquake in the market, guys, because the UVIX needs to bounce on the daily cycle and maybe even the weekly cycle again. All right, I got a bunch here from Ryan. I'll go through these real quick. So let's see here. The world, is the world ending? No, the world's not ending. It's not. I think the world ends after Trump leaves office. I think that's when the all the chickens come home to roost, so to speak. Because, if you actually go look, I mean, they've been saying Social Security is going to be insolvent in the 2030s. I mean, I don't want to scare you guys if you're on that stuff, but that's what they say, and they've been saying that for decades. And guess what? I hate to break it to you, 2030 is like 5 years away. So eventually, there's no more road to kick the can down. And that would be the next president is going to have to deal with that mess. So I think that, and you see, interest rates got the next cycle higher, government debt crisis. I think we're going to have a sovereign debt crisis for the next president's going to have to deal with. I think that's going to collapse. That's going to be the collapse, guys. The sovereign debt is going to be a sovereign debt because all that's got to get resolved. Because it can't continue. The debt can't continue exponentially. You have insolvency and government programs projected in the next decade. And you have interest rate cycle that will finish higher, likely caused by inflation accident, which is we're probably walking into now, and that's what's coming. But I don't think that's what I'm saying. I don't think that's going to happen in Trump's watch. I think that's next president gets that problem, and then they get to create the solution too. So that's the other thing. Kicking the can down the road also means you kick the can down to the next guy in charge, and then he gets to call the shots and fix it. And you may not like who's in charge at that moment in time when that happens. So there's a disadvantage of kicking the can down the road, because then you don't get to fix it and get to put in the changes. So I guess Trump hopes Vance will be reelected and get to do it, but maybe not. It may not be Vance. It may be someone else out there. Will win. Who knows? And then they get to fix it. And then they get to influence and put all their fingerprints on the solution, the way the country will operate for the next 30 or 40 years. And that's what's going to happen. That's my thinking right now on that. All right, so let's go to let's see, the first stock is Open. All right, everyone's into Open. I don't care about the fundamental view on Open. All I care about is how to trade it. And there is a box. If you guys want to play it, go for it. I showed the path to our elite members here. It's pretty much, you can buy that here and in right around 876, give or take a penny or two, and maybe you could try to put your stop at 771 just in case you don't want to get into gap fill, and then you should get a reaction, and then it's either, I think it's either this path for a double and B, or it's the next leg higher, which I'd probably be targeting $16, $17, maybe even higher than that. So this is the next move. I think it's likely to take another leg lower into this box. I don't think B is done here. I think that's too soon. Now, if we melt through the box a little bit, I think you need to be careful. The reaction could go lower, and then it can morph into something else, and I'd have to just update it. But I think you'll get a reaction. I think you have a tradable reaction here, but it isn't without risk. So if you guys want to take the risk, take it. I mean, I'm not going to stop you. This is the chart. On my live stream, we called the low at 180. We called the truncation and why, right? Someone asked me, maybe you, right? I have no idea who the heck asked this, but I hope you made a ton of money. Because everyone's like, oh, I'm in open, buy calls in open here. Guys, my channel, we saw the low at 180. 180, guys. And of course, we didn't want to chase this, but at 180, you could have bought it and just put your stop at 168, and then you didn't have to worry about what was happening here, right? This was kind of the confusing part of the cycle. I think this is what blew up a lot of short traders, but we avoided trading it here completely because it was just too risky, and that's what the shorts found out here. But coming off the low, I mean, we called it on our channel. So here's another box. So I think it's going to give you an opportunity here, and then you'll have to decide how much risk. LPSN. Unfortunately, broke our pivots and broke even. It looks like it's about to break this low. So I'm just already anticipating that low being breached. So I've had to update this chart to be more corrective. So you have 3 and 3, and then you move up in Y. So I do believe on this move you have one more low, at least one more low, and then it should stabilize, and then perhaps you get the next cycle. It's probably running the stops on everybody. They're running the stops here. It's going to run the stops there, and then it's going to reverse, is my guess. DEFT is in the middle area. It's coming off of a 2-wave, but it's only come off in 3 waves as of now. So you only have 3 up, 3 down. So and this is pretty extended to be in the same cycle. So you're either going to get something like this, corrective, more downside, or it's already started the next leg lower. It's too difficult to forecast. You don't really have an impulse. It is already broke down. It's already you couldn't make a 5 here. So my thinking is I would say that you expect it lower as long as you're below this level. I would expect more downside and eventually this low being breached. Taking out this high, then it would extend it, and then you can buy the pullback. But here is the middle area I wouldn't recommend trading. Sportsman Warehouse is in a very bullish setup. We had the buy, vertical, pullback, crash, and a flat. And now we're in some kind of 2-wave. I could put it here as a 1-2, 1-2. I could make it a flat as well and pull it back. But again, the most important level, it's got to stay above 281. If it can stay above 281, you will get a breakout. And a big one at that, if it can happen. So the setup is there. The question is, will the market give us the setup or not? And you're looking to play a double correction higher. So that's the play on it. And it may or may not work out. But that's a good sign. That reaction's a good sign. GoPro also calling the low, right? And we got that 5 as expected, but now I would be expecting a top and a pullback. This looks like an extended 5th wave. On every time frame, we have bearish divergence. Every time frame. So this is a classic extended 5th wave, and typically you lose the whole 5. So if we peak, it's like a false breakout. It's going to get slammed back down and come all the way back. It could come all the way back down to $1. So maybe, yeah. So you could see a big rug pull on this, but I still actually think the next cycle higher has started as the Russell Index now goes into a multi-year bull market. So I think this is buyable, but I just don't know how deep it could go. I think it could go pretty deep. The surprise would be if it just extends and erases that divergence we've been observing in a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. But it'd have to happen Monday. It'd have to happen like tomorrow. Okay. All right. All right. So let's see here, guys. Does the violence of the move down have any significance? It does, because you want to see it erase divergence, because if it wasn't violent, it would have bullish divergence. It'd be a 5th wave, and that would be a different structure than what I was showing. So in some ways, you want to see that. You want to see that. All right. Yeah, I have everybody's super chat from yesterday. It was just YouTube, for whatever, or Google, for whatever reason, deletes the feed that you can't see it the next day. But I see all of it on my end. I don't know why it does that, but it does that. And then I messed up in the scheduling. Just the title was right for 9/21, but the time field was off for September 20. So I think that was some confusion. Open is holding tight. Thoughts? Yeah, I mean, I would say, like I said, open. That's your setup. That's your box. That's your play. You guys want to play that. That's the box to play it. I think you'll get a reaction, so that may be good for some scalp here. And then but then it's like, I don't know. I mean, it can do that. It can do that. It can totally do that. Okay. I just don't know. Now if it does this double, then we're still in B, and then it's even a better setup. But much then it's even then the risk is low, like a lower risk but a higher reward. This is like a higher risk with a high reward. High reward, but the risk is higher. The risk is not as high if you can buy it after a three-wave move on the larger time frame. Okay, HESM. Let's take a look at that. Hess midstream. So I looked at this here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're pulling back in a 4-wave. I think we're going to bounce soon. But this 4 is a larger degree correction. As you can see, the wave 2 took almost 3 years to finish. This wave 4 could be 2 to 3 years of sideways to lower. So, it's likely to see something like this play out, and then another high, and then a catastrophe, right? Because then you'll correct the grand super cycle, and that could bring you back down to 25. So I'm thinking the easy money's over. Now you're in like scalp and trader territory. This is the trader territory. The investor territory, this is where if you bought it as an investor, you're looking to like ring the register. If you're a trader, you can trade all through this on 3-wave dips. If you want to keep, on the depending on your preferred time frame. But I think it could go a little lower, but then I think you're going to get this kind of pattern. The next one is WRAP. Looks like I may have missed that one. Let's go back and add that. Yeah, sorry about that. Looks like I missed that one on my prep here. So anytime I see the lower low, it just sucks to see that. But looking at this, it looks like a flat right off the bat, right? It's a flat, right? Because you can see the A, the B. Like this. You can see the A wave down, the 3 waves up, and the 5 waves down from here. So now it needs to hold that level. So you have 1, 2, and now you need to hold this low, 90 cents. It looks like 5 up, and let's take a look. Yeah, hard to say. I mean, the daily cycle shows some divergence on the peak, so I think I'm okay with calling that an impulse. You had a really big extended 5th wave, and then of course you lost the whole 5, which I always say that's typical. And now you made a lower low here, which is not good, but it could be a double correction. And so it's kind of in a funky setup here. I think what you're gonna see is some kind of you're in some kind of B wave, but I think B wave will probably go higher and then come back down again. It needs to stay above this low, but it's in the middle area, and you don't have a divergence erased. I wouldn't be surprised to see it pump a little bit higher and then drop another leg. It looks like you have 3, and so you have 5 here. So C, B, A. So yeah, you're in some kind of connector wave, and then it's 50-50 if it's going to be able to keep that low or not. The high, and if it can, then you will really have a pump. If not, it's going to be like the last one we looked at, where I'll have to update the chart, and then you're going to run. It's not tradable. I mean, these types of structures, guys, I never trade. I see something like this, I just hit delete, just get rid of it. I don't bother. I don't care about Warp. I don't care about its sector. I don't care about all its prospects and its CEO is some genius guy. I could care. I look at a chart like this, I'm like, nope, I don't trade that kind of chart. I'll look for a better chart with a clearer setup. It puts the odds so much in your favor. Trading a chart like this is so difficult and so erratic. Unless you work for these guys or you're some reason you have to trade it, then I understand. But if you're just trying to find things that are running, this is one that I just would go boom, delete, because you don't want to trade structures like this. It's too complicated. It's too choppy. It's too choppy. Okay, is my opinion. Right. This was nice, but that's over. That move's over, and you're in a whole new move. Right. You can't think about the past. Right. You have to think about the future, and the future looks erratic now. Okay. So but I always say, do what's best for you. All right, going to Matt, your question. Oh, Matt, thanks for the big super chat, man. I really appreciate that. Yeah, let's go into your symbols, and I'm glad you're making a lot of money. I'm glad Matt's making a lot of money. I think he follows my system. He doesn't just buy randomly. He isn't just trading the account, right? And I think it's worked out for him. Okay, so let's go to the SUI. So this one's interesting. It seems almost too bullish here for me, right? We have a 1-2, a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. That would put us, we need a double correction. So here's our force. So our target would be 335, but we need to stay above 310. So I do think you have more downside coming here, but it needs to stay above this level. Now, if it can't do that, then this is a W wave, and this is an A, B, C, D, E, a triangle connector, and then it does a double on the higher time frame, right? And that would really mess up a lot of traders, right? Because it will do a big double, but this structure I've seen so many times before, and once that's finished, it goes. So I think as long as you're above this pivot here, I think it's okay. I think the bullish structure is okay. And when I look at the subdivisions, they look 5 up. Because a triangle, you really need 3 up. You typically not 5s. So we'll go with this count. So we'll see what happens. I hope it works out for you. Next one is SENS. Let's take a look at that. A med device company. Yeah, sensor, diabetes. Maybe it's going to take some market share from Dexcom if with their issues they got going on. So we have 3 waves up, but we made a 4 and a 5. Remember we talked about that, right? But here you made the 5. You made the 5. You made the 5. So that's good. So now it's impulsive. It's in a bull, right? That changes everything in my mind. It changes a lot of things, right? So now you have 5 waves, and now we have to look at the corrective structure here and where we're heading. So let's look at the daily. Pretty much bottomed out here. I mean, it's like barely, but you don't have massive divergence, right? So my thinking on this looks like that's probably your connector right in there, and then this is your third swing down. Let's see where that gets us. Right where it's finding buyers, right there. See at 43. So you're finding buyers right at the right fib level you would expect. So yeah, so I think what we'll do for the count is we'll go with 3-wave move down, so WXY. The question is, are we still in Y or not? That's the question. And we could be, or it could be finished. I think you have an A, you have a B. I could put C there. Let's take another closer look. Yeah, I could put it there, and I could call it finished with that reaction. So if not, C would extend. This would be 1-2, 1-2. It would go deeper, and it would go deeper into the box, or even go through the box. Really, the box is the low. So it's too early to say if it's finished, but I would think what investors may think is, oh, they can gain market share, right, if they're doing sensors. And I think there's some stuff on StockTwits about SENS being a competitor and taking some of Dexcom's business away. And I don't know if any of that's true, guys. By the way, do your own due diligence. But if investors believe that, whether it's true or not, they'll start buying the stock, right? They'll start buying this, thinking, oh, it's good for that. Well, and that's all it is. The perception of the truth is good enough to get the bid to come in and volume to come in a stock that never has any volume. So we'll just leave it, see where it goes. Could be a very low risk, high reward setup if you guys want to try to play that. Okay, low risk, high reward. Okay, what's the bigger picture look like on the grand super cycle? Yeah, some kind of flat that would be done here. Yes, I don't know. I don't know anything about these guys. I don't know, but I know if they're in that same space with the news, the short report I read on Dexcom, I can only imagine what investors are thinking right now and where they want to maybe move their money around to. So I don't know if that's good for them or bad. Maybe it's good. I don't know. Okay. BURU. So Eric, let's go to yours and take a look. Looks like we have one more low, and I was able to find a box around this 4 cents. Now it's a pretty big drop, but that's the Fibonacci level, right? The Elliott wave says it may truncate, but the Fibonacci level that I think there's strong support is going to be in this box as long as you can keep bullish divergence intact like you have. So so I think you can do two things. You can either trace the cycle down yourself, and when you see this 5 waves end, then it's the end, right? Or you just wait for this box to get hit. So I think you have this 5 waves. So I think this is where it's going to go. And if you start to erase divergence, then this will become a 1-2. Actually, I would label this as a 1-2, 1-2, and then you'll have a bigger drop. So I think it's risky to buy anything here, but I think you have more downside. It looks like, and looking at labeling it, it's in, it's at the end of a massive decline. So it would be a pretty hefty pump when this is finished. So again, you're on to something. I just can't tell you the exact time it's going to come. I just don't know. But yeah, I think a pump will emerge. It's just tough to say. I think there's one more low. It's just these are tricky charts to guess. Whatever these guys do, Nibiru, I don't know. All right. So then MPW and MYO. I'll start with MYO first. So MYO, we've been watching. We predicted that final low. We got it. And we have a pivot we can trade against, so we're like, all right, let's see what's happening. So we're trading it. We see the divergences. So like the other one, you're like, all right, let's stick our neck out and see. We started to see it break. And so far it's starting to turn. So that's good, but we're not out of the woods yet. Okay, so it looks like you have 5 up off that low. Good. You made a higher high, but now you made 5 up. So now you're pulling back. So you'd be looking for this 2, but you really need to stay above 80 cents. So now you have a really good pivot to trade from, right? 80 cents. So if this setup is right, anything above 80 cents could result in the big move I think people are looking for. If we break 80 cents, it's something else and I don't want to trade it anymore. The setup's lost, okay? And we can come back to it. So it's a very unique setup that so far is holding, but we just need to understand the risk, and if 80 cents breaks, I probably don't want anything to do with it anymore. All right, and then the next one is MPW. We pretty much got this one right, nailed this one, and now you're making a 5 here, another 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 could already be finished. So we may already be into. Let's take a look at the 4-hour and the daily. To me, when I look at the daily cycle, it has a little bearish divergence and it's trying to correct the cycle. So I think you're looking over the cliff. So you're looking over your cliff. So it's I think a pullback is coming. It may have already started. If you don't get that, we could extend 5 a little more. But yeah, I'd be looking for a pullback. But again, I don't recommend timing the market. But if you want to try to time it, go for it. But I think you have more upside to come. Okay, and whatever happens here. All right. So let's go back and take a look at where we are, where we left off. So the next set of super chats, YIN. YIN, pretty good. We had that box here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm looking for a 5, and then an A wave with a B, and then a C. So I'm looking for something like this. This is a sell box we've had on it, I think, since down in this area, and we're almost getting to it. And what's going to happen in that box, I wouldn't short it, but I would expect a much bigger consolidation and even a pullback that lasts quite a while. I don't know how long exactly, but it's going to find resistance, and then it's going to consolidate these gains, and then the next move out of that is going to be huge. So it'd be, again, if you missed the move in China, you may have to wait a little bit longer, but you could become an opportunity. And we also are in this 4, and actually if we look at 4 here, we almost see it trying to double correct into a setup. So we may get a setup, and I just noticed that. I didn't notice that earlier, but that setup could get you at 52.18, 51.39. So keep an eye on that box. Okay, so there's a setup that could emerge this week coming up. So keep an eye on that. Okay. Bohr, trying to come out of its box. I think it has one more high, and then it's going to correct the whole cycle from the low in May. And that means it can go deep, but usually it stays around the wave 4 cluster. So maybe it comes back down to 240 or so, and then it really get the bigger breakout. Now there's a possibility the 5's already in, but there's just not enough data. I think we have another high at least, and then we could see that pullback. Okay. And then I'm looking for bigger breakout. I think that low is a good low. I don't think now if that low breaks, this company's toast. Now this low was expected with a 5-wave count between the 4 and the 2, and we pretty much got that. So I'm not. And then the breakout, once we break about $4.50, the downtrend's over, and the personality of this wave is pumps. So again, you're buying here for the pump in 26 or 27. Just like I was telling people to buy uranium and gold miners in January 23, and you're getting the pump now, right? So if you're patient and you can hold as long as this low holds here, yeah, this could take some time, but I think you'll be very happy if we can go into the future. My guess is somewhere around here, we're going to be up here. And then everyone's going to be, oh, we got to get in this. And you're going to be like, oh, we're in it comfortably. And we're not going to care about all the pullback and the count because we got levels of $1 and $2. That's what I'm saying. So these are the opportunities that our elite members, we spot all the time. So this is one example now. But the cycle looks like it should be coming to an end soon. And this is what I'm saying. If you're taking new positions now, you're probably going to be underwater. Now, if you happen to buy it down here, you're probably okay. But yeah, if you bought it late in the cycle, you may be underwater, and you're just going to have to live with that, or decide how you want to trade that. Plug coming off the lows in 5 in a 1-2-1-2. I still see more upside. It looks like it's trying to reverse. And if solar has bottomed, more than likely this is a major low. I'm not even going to bother labeling the rest because it looks like you have a nice impulse off the low with a higher high. It seems like more upside. It seems like you're in a 3 of 3. It can continue to gap up and extend. I would buy any wave in 3 would be a buy. Okay. Plug is pretty simple. It looks like to me the cycle is over here. Okay. Rig. Rig. As we can see, rig hit this little buy area we had here, starting to find support again, almost like Bohr, finishing up a cycle, and then we could be correct in this whole wave, coming back down to $3. We can't rule out a 1-2-1-2, okay? But it's one or the other, right? So it's one of these counts, okay? So I like more upside. Again, Bohr, we've done really well here. We have 5 up, 1, 2. We called the low the breakout of the wedge, this big wedge, right? We were watching, we broke out, and that's probably a major low that we need to hold, or again, this company's toe, right? The chart is a go to zero, right? So we're likely to be in an uptrend, a multi-year uptrend, okay? But it isn't straight up. We're gonna have to withstand. This could be a 1-2-1-2. It could be a 1-2-3-4-5 and finish this whole thing, and then have an epic pullback. So there's a lot of possibilities, but more upside is likely. All right, next set of questions coming in here. ALMP here. Let's take a look at where we are. ALMP. So ALMP, I have it as needing a double correction box at 40.63. I think that would be a good dip buy opportunity. But I do see it's the end of a cycle, a major cycle. More than likely, all the easy money's over, so it's in a top-end distribution process now. In this 1, 2, you're 3. Now you're in your 4s and 5s, and then a massive pullback, which I wouldn't be surprised to see it come back down to 32. And then if it still can survive that, it goes to much higher levels. But I think it's going to top here, and it looks like it's ready for that move down. It should find support in this area. All right, UPS. UPS is close to a box. I think it has one more leg lower, 76, 72. But I would more importantly look at the chart support it has. We saw this with Novo. Don't even need to know the count, know anything. What do you think the likelihood is when we hit this line is going to happen at 78? I mean, look, it's massive support. Maybe I'll go to 73, 76. Like, it's gonna bounce, guys. And this is what I said the day before Nova bottom, right? It was the same conversation. Like, when we hit this level, we may wick through it. It's gonna bounce, but it's not just gonna. It's gonna bounce for potentially a couple years. Now, either it will go to new highs, or it will bounce and go to zero, and then you're talking Great Depression type shit, right? Or UPS has got a company specific catastrophe, but I think you're going to bounce here, right? You're going to bounce in a multi-year bounce, right? It's going to do something, and then either it's going to be the Great Depression Part 2, or we're mooning. Now, the thing about this chart, someone's like, oh, it's going to do that. Well, if it does that, guys, then the perma bears are right, because unless you have a company specific issue with UPS, because UPS is not typically, it's like a litmus test for the general economy. If it's going to do this and break through these support levels without any bounce, then it's coming down to 30s and 20s, and we must be looking at everyone's worried about a recession. We'd be looking at a depression. The economy must be shut down, collapse. So unless you believe that's going to happen, then you have to believe it's going to bounce. And if you believe it's going to bounce, you got to believe the market's going to probably be okay, because UPS has been going down, the market's going up. But when UPS goes up, the market not only goes up, it accelerates up. So it's just something to think about. This is the UPS is one of the weakest stocks in the market right now, and it's going to find a low, and that could provide floor for the market. It can be a sign to say, hey, this could be, the market, because if it's going to go lower, that means the market's in a lot more trouble. Maybe I'm not as bearish as I need to be, But right now, I think when I look at the count, look at everything, the setup is there. And then I think you'll bounce and we'll see where it goes. Either it's going to V bottom like you saw here, just like that, or it's going to meander around and then get rejected. And then it's going to be boom, crash. All right, MSOS. Here, I'm sorry, GGAL. I didn't cover that. Let me go back to GGAL. All right, GGAL is in a box, and looking at the wave count, we still have some more downside. But again, it's going to be hard to time the bottom. But I don't think it's finished going lower yet. But if you're a long-term investor, you kind of start adding position. If you're trying to look for instant gratification, I would look somewhere else. I think that's a pretty straightforward one. Like if you're a long-term investor, you need to start buying it, right? You need to start buying some of it. If you're not, if you're a trader, I would just go. I wouldn't trade this right now. I would want a little bit more confirmation the lows in before I started to buy this. And short it, you better give your money to someone else to trade if you're shorting it here. So I won't even mention that. All right, Riot has been doing really well for our subscribers and really just anyone in general who's following me. Sorry, we didn't mean to go. We'll go back up to MSOS. MSOS. So we have 3 waves in a box. We got a reaction. It double corrected. I want to see another leg lower. The next reaction is at 367. And that would be another opportunity for wave 2. And like I said, though, since you are in a C wave is 5 waves up, and you've already made 5. So there's no guarantee you'll get 3. Okay, you have to understand that there's no guarantee of wave 3 because it's a C leg, right? We have an A, B, C up. Now, what we're trying to do is we'll see extend. If it is, it needs to bounce here. It didn't, and it failed. Now it has another opportunity. And if it can't do it here, then it's likely that tops in, and it's just gonna melt away. And I've been mentioning that to anyone who's been trading it and following me in our elite group. I look at this every day, and I've been saying the same thing. But the box, you should get a reaction, and if you get the reaction you're looking for, that's a 2. If not, you'll react and it could break down again, but I don't think it could survive another breakdown. So it's kind of do or die here. All right, Riot. Riot should be in a 5, pulling back. We could see a pullback back down to 14.94 in this area. I'd like to see more upside continue. It's a very straightforward chart. I'll only be looking to buy it in 3 waves. It's in a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And I like to see it just continue. It's broken the downtrend. And we've pretty much traded this like a pro. We've nailed this we totally have nailed this trade in our group, guys. All right, I've already covered MPW, MSOS, so I won't cover those again. G-Link, Grayscale, it's double correcting. It's kind of liquid, so it's hard to you'll guess where it could end up. So we can kind of look at the waves and see where we think it is now. See how you had 1, 2, 3 here. Where's that bounce, right? Where's that bounce? So let's take a look if we can find a connector within that wave. So here you see we have that connector right there. So if we look, I don't really see that yet, right? I don't see a connector unless I call that the connector, and it might. Yeah, I mean, either it's this or that, but it's not. We don't see how here you have a decisive connector. So what I think it could be a couple things, and I mentioned this earlier. We could bounce here and make another leg lower, right? It's due for a bounce technically, and then we can go down another wave, like another wave, another wave. Like that. You see that? I think that's what I would expect based on just my technical understanding of these charts here. So I would be looking for something like that. And but this bounce can't be more than that. It has to be, it can't exceed this. Now if it exceeds that in terms of RSI, if it comes back and takes out that peak, if we bounce and take over that peak, well then the correction's over. And then it truncate it, and whatever I think it is, then it's just an ABC. So you're not going to be able to time the bottom on this. You're essentially trading against this low at 1245. So it's huge risk, but huge reward. And you just have to decide how you want to play that. We didn't get a big reaction here, got a little bit of a reaction, right? And now it's double correcting. So you just have to decide how you want to trade it. I don't see a clear, there's no slam dunk setup other than you want to just buy it and put your stop here on 5, but that's a lot to risk. Now, a lot of people who follow me already long from this area because we bought it down here. And then you can decide if you took profit up here, well, then you just hold to the lows, make the market makers take you out. If they can't, you'll be fine. And that's kind of my strategy. But if you chased it up here, you didn't take any profit, well, I can't help you, right? That's why buying at the end of the cycle is risky, right? And that's why you always take profit, put your stop at the low. But I don't see a good entry right now. There was one here, that entry failed. So now it's kind of like, now it's not clear. Unless you got it down here, you were fortunate enough to buy it down here, you're going to have to take a big risk. And maybe there's other things to trade that don't have that kind of risk that you may want to look into. VUSI. VUSI's breaking out of the downtrend. I think it's ready to go higher. Looks like you have a 1-2 and another one, maybe in a 2 right now. 2 could be over, shallow. So it's breaking out. So again, it's goes with the Russell Index. It is in the Russell Index. So if the Russell Index is in a new uptrend for a while, maybe for several years, I'm sure this will follow it up. And you can see the downtrend's over in this 1-2, 1-2 setup. So, I would still be looking for 450. Now, it could always double correct from there, but my guess is it's found the low. Okay, Roku also found the low here, and it's pushing a 5th wave that could end at any moment. You have bearish divergence, just a little bit here, so maybe it needs another 4 and 5. Let's take a look. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, maybe it's in 3 of 5 of 5. So maybe it's going to do something like this, right, to finish it. But my guess is it's in some kind of 5, and we'll get a pullback, and that pullback would probably get you back down to $75, and then a bigger breakout. The only way we can change that forecast, get rid of that, it's irrelevant. Change the forecast is if we erase divergence. But it's got some work to do. It's got to come up and take this peak out. Okay. We also need to take out these peaks, this one and this one. But it's likely to do that. Yeah, this looks like it's trying to make its turn, right? It came in, found a low at 39. Double correct it. It's trying to turn base and then come out. Base and come out. I definitely would love to buy that too if it comes. Now this is a structure I like trading if we can get that 2 wave at 75 here. If not, well, it is what it is. I don't chase. And my MYO, we've already covered that, so I won't cover that again. All right, Plug Power, Plug I've already covered, and Roku, so covered those. I appreciate that for the same, the double super chats. Yeah, and so I covered those. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else I need to say on those that I haven't already said. Roku is forming a bottom accumulation zone. It is likely to break out, okay, at some point. I don't know when, but it's likely to. And so you're in early here. But is it the right entry? I don't know if it's the perfect entry, but down here was the perfect entry, but you had to have the conviction to hold it. And we had covered this for a while. We've talked about Roku, right? I mean, we had the box here, and but I mean, you would have had to hold for the last couple years and really not make anything out of it. So I mean, you have to decide. But this is the chart. And again, the bigger chart, look at that extended fifth wave. And again, we lost the whole 5, right? And now it's trying to come out. And could you imagine if it can rapidly come out? 100 to 400. So yeah, there's a lot of reward. Maybe, I guess, a lot of risk here, because you have to risk almost 50%, 40%. But if you could get it down in this area, it'd be better, I think. Okay. TGN. TGN, have it in this fifth wave. You can kind of see the count from here. More upside is needed. I think you make another high, and then, of course, a pullback. Pretty straightforward. SLDP. Looking at it as in a connector wave. Looks like it's already peaked in 5. Here we have a big 3-wave move. That C leg could be over. Again, like MSOS, 5 is done. So this could be over. It could be all the way back down to new lows. We just don't know. I think it's going to make another leg lower, and then it'll be a big decision whether you get another leg higher. You're either going to get this, or you're going to get that, and I just don't know. I think you're in this connector wave, so maybe short term more upside, another leg lower, and then higher. But as long as you're below this level, it's bearish. It's not in a bull anymore. In fact, you know, anytime you see it like this, it's like the opposite. Like, selling, and I don't recommend shorting without a lower low, and this isn't big enough yet to do that. But I would say, like, this is the likely path, and then the market will decide. This is a no trade stock for me. And Serve, breaking out like expected. And this has plenty more upside to go. And this is, like I said, probably benefiting from the Russell. I'm not sure if it's in the Russell index. It probably is. And just kind of tracing the waves out. So I would still see plenty of upside. I wouldn't try to time the market. It's likely to break all these highs and break out. I wouldn't be surprised to see it at $40 or higher. And if you try to time the market and leave and come back, you'll probably miss you'll probably have to chase it. And your best bet is to bought it down in these areas when I was talking about it, and now you want to hold. And that's kind of what I see in Serve. So Serve is just going to grind higher and higher, and that's kind of the next cycle higher started, in my opinion. OUST, we had this box. It could still hit it if it double corrects down. If not, that 4 is in, and we're in 5, and I'm just not sure. But in the end, if it's 5, we should get another pullback and one more high. So it's either, and again, I'm probably leaning towards a 5, where you get something like that, and then it drops back down, or the market rug pulls us this week, and then you can buy it again in this box. And it's just not enough data, but we are making that impulse off the low here. So. But then once this cycle is over, you're going to correct this whole thing, and it's going to be a big correction. It should be, right? And then you come back and you hopefully make more upside. So again, if you're starting new positions here, you're likely to become underwater. And if you bought it down here, you're going to have to be patient and hold through all that. But I think that's kind of what I see right now. Now we have seen charts, like I keep saying multiple times. We could have a 1-2, 1-2. So there is, I don't think that's the count, but I can't rule it out. But we'll know like Monday and Tuesday, because we'll just separate and go, right? So I don't think that's the case, okay? Because I think looking at it, we saw a lot of divergence, a lot of bearish divergence indicating a 5th wave. So my guess is a 5, okay? All right, PSIX. Also pushing higher in a fifth wave. Should see more upside, maybe to like this 130, 140 area, and then a big correction, a big pullback. Likely, if this is a 5, all the way back down to 60 or even lower before the next leg higher. Something like this. So again, you know, a lot in the market, there's a lot of 4s and 5s out there based on the count today, unless we start seeing some divergence array. So that's why I keep saying, if you start in a new position Monday, if you're like, happy, I want to buy, you better be prepared to be underwater on those positions. You need, or you better be scalping or have a strategy. The time to have bought was a long time ago. This is the end. I think we're coming to an end of a lot of these cycles. Now, not all of them are like this, but a lot of them are coming to an end. A lot of 4s and 5s. You know, now see, there's still more upside. It's not like I'm saying it's done here, you know. So I think there's, but it's likely to come to an end. That's what we're likely seeing, okay? So just manage your expectations accordingly, okay? All right. So here we go. That's PSIX MTA. MTA again. Series of 4s and 5s come into a box that we had, and same thing like I said here. Once we get into this area, you already have a lower low here, so this is likely to fail and go and lose it all. So this is the next, you know. So you decide how you want to trade it. This is the count I have. I still see more upside though, but you're you know, maybe you can get to 750, something like that, and then that could be it. That could be it. All right, AMPX also trying to finish out its cycle. Could see 16, 17, and then again it's likely to come to a decision point, right? It's either going to make an impulse or it's going to collapse. Our target was always this box. Remember, look, we bought it. There's the buy box. $1, $16. See that? I mean, so if you bought it here, I mean, this has always been the plan. See how it did something like that? And look what happened afterward. I think the same thing could happen. All right? That's MTA. I'm sorry, AMPX. Okay. So moving on to Baxter. Baxter's really getting obliterated. I have one more leg lower, and then we should see maybe a multi-year bounce. I see from this chart 5 waves down from the top. A corrective move can't be in 5, it has to be in 3, so you're going to need a bounce and another low. So I think you'll get a multi-year bounce. You could come back up to the wave 4 area, maybe back up to 54, even up to 60, and then I think it fails, honestly. It's 50-50 if the company will even be around when that leg happens. But for now, I think it's due for a multi-year. So this is tradable, this bounce. Look at all the support that's coming. It's right on 20. So you're going to get a bounce on 20. I think a multi-year bounce. It's tradable, right? 20 to 60 is pretty tradable, right? But I wouldn't fall in love with it because I do think if this is 5, you're going to get another leg. And I can't call it a flat. It doesn't look like a flat the way we topped. It just doesn't look like that. I mean, of course, I could force any count I want to, but I'm just giving you my honest opinion. I don't think it's a flat. I think it's a 5-wave move down, and you're going to bounce and make another low. But the bounce should last a little bit of time. But it's corrected in the grand super cycle. Right? Look at that. I mean, this was like the most loved stock, the most hated stock. Like what? I don't know whoever was running the company, but boy, they did a really terrible job, and they effed up, man. Whoever. I mean, this was great. And then this was horrific, and they just can't seem to make whatever decision. So something obviously is broken with the company, and I'm not sure how they'll fix it. But this chart says you get a bounce, things go okay, and then something goes terribly wrong again, and maybe they don't survive it. I don't know. APPS. This one is tougher, but I think it's coming off the lows as a 1-2-1-2. I I was thinking making it as a 3-wave corrective move, but I think it's making a turn higher right now. And I look at kind of how it diverged, like we didn't erase divergence here. So I think it's a 1-2-1-2. So I think you're going to get more upside on this. So I think this one, you know, if you have an opportunity to buy it, you may want to try that if you're looking for some money, you know, quick gains on these wave 3s. The shorter cycle off of this low, making a 5. So maybe when this cycle pulls back to 496, that could be your entry potentially. It looks like we'll have a pullback coming and then come out. Okay. NVTS hit in the box, coming out. We're expecting more upside. I think it's okay to 15. You know, these things go crazy. For all we know, it's going to do that. I mean, this sector is always bullish, so it's hitting the bounce. It's turning now. HP needs one more high, like most of energy, and then a big drop, right, to retrace the wave from this low. And again, elite members got these lows and don't need to worry about these cycles up here. But it could bounce. You could have a trade here at 1990, 1962 for a 5, and then I think you get that bigger pullback that's coming, and then we'll see where it goes from there. HNT. Let's take a look. Some kind of crypto play. As long as it can hold this 1-2-1-2, it can come out. If we break that low, then it's going to extend its corrective cycle. Okay, so it's really it's a kind of a nail biter here, and everything looks okay. A race and divergence and a very shallow double correction. So it's kind of like do or die time. So this is it. Helium coin. It's gotta bounce right around here. It has to bounce, or this will be invalidated. Okay. All right, just like that. All right, pretty straightforward chart. I mean, you could buy it now and put your stop at 225, and it could be the lowest risk trade you ever had. But again, if this breaks down, it would be a connector wave for this 3-wave move, and would take another 3 waves down. It would be devastating for the chart, right? It really needs to hold this level. It really does. Okay, it really needs to, if it has any hope. Okay, let's keep going. BTU, the wave count. I'll make sure I didn't skip over that, but the wave count on BTU, bigger picture, 1-2, 1-2. Looks like we're pushing higher, and this count here has got plenty more upside to come. 1-2, probably find resistance at 28 for the next cycle, and then a big pullback like you saw here, and then I think you have that bigger breakout that takes it to new all-time highs. So something like that. So yeah, that's what I'd be looking for. You know, 4s and 5s. I think this is the area you'll find resistance, and it's likely where it will peak. I think somewhere around there. Okay. Now, let me make sure I didn't skip over LEU. Yeah, let me cover that. So here we have a 5 that's finishing up with a 4 and a 5 coming. And looking at it here, this would be a major peak 3. So this would be a big top for it. So that could produce, we could lose this whole wave all the way back down to 161. So we're looking for, you know, something like this. And then that's it, right? And then a bigger pullback. Covered G-Link already. GGAL already covered that earlier. Hive. So Hive, looking for some kind of 5th wave. We want to see, now that 4 could be here. We could maybe double correct in 4 and still call it 4. But we need again a little more upside, and then we'll peak, have a bigger pullback, probably back down somewhere down to this area, and then we should continue higher, right? This is the more classic view. Of course, the crazy view is it just pumps, which it has the personality and capability of doing. I think this is the target where it could be in danger of a more significant peak. But again, I think this cycle, obviously you have a 1, 2, you're 3, 3, and then you top, and then you pull back. IREN is also topping in some 4s and 5s. Once this 4 and 5 is developed, then this whole cycle will end, and it's either 3, but I think it'll be another 1, 2. Maybe I could call it 3, but I think it's whatever happens, it will pull back and come back down to 27.50 and back test the all-time high. It's going to back test this more than likely. So I would be expecting that, and then when this whole cycle is over, a drop back down to this area. Okay. MPW and serve. I did serve already. MPW. I did both, so both have already been done. MPW I did already, and serve has already been done as well. So you already have those. And then let's keep going. Hey, your idea to add and buy the dips on LAES were okay. Where do you see this chart after the C wave is completed? Well, again, just to answer your question, here I see the C wave completed at 550. You see this kind of like almost like a megaphone, like continuation pattern. Like I see this trend line being tagged. So there's your tag right there. That's where I think it ends. So that's where I see it ending. Okay, that's the logical place for it to end, I think. All right, next set here. Let's keep going. The U's. U. Okay, that is one that we've been watching since $3 or $4. So we know about this one. Wave 3 can't be the shortest. Maybe I missed that earlier. Just recognize it now or something. So let me just take a look at the shorter cycle. So we got the 1, 2. Yeah, I think we're just going to go with the more bullish interpretation of this for now. I was going with something not as bullish, but I think the chart does deserve. We need to go with that chart. Yeah, we have to go with that. So I think we'll go with this chart for now. So it's in 3 of 3 territory. I mean, we could wake up and it could be up 40%. We don't know. I mean, we don't know. So right now you're in uncharted territory in this. I mean, if you look at the entire chart, I mean, look at that move. Look at the personality. Imagine trying to time the market here, and then you miss the move all the way to $80. This could be in a 1-2 of its own. What if you make a blunder like that? You try to time the market here, and then next thing you know, we're at $100. So I would not. Again, these uranium plays, you're talking years and years of gains, guys. I would not be. You got to be crazy to try to time the market. I would be so happy to be able to buy it still at these levels. I wouldn't buy it here though. Let it pull back. And then I would just get your position and hold it, honestly. But if you have to trade it, I think this is our cycle here. I do think it should be finishing the meat of this 3 very soon. And then we should get the 4s and 5s, right? You should get the 4s and 5s. So more upside is coming. I think we got the more bullish. I think it needs to be more bullish interpretation of the chart. Okay. GEV is good. I think it's trying to push a 5th wave now. Trying to push a 5th wave here to end the major cycle. So something like this. So I'm looking for a 5 here. Now, of course, it could keep extending, but you have to look at this. At 1, 2, it ran in 3, 4, and 5, right? And then, of course, we get a pullback, probably back down to 520, 480, and then it keeps going. So this is a good company to own as an investor if you can get it. Now it still could be 1 2 1 2. If it's that, we'll double correct. So if we double correct from here and we come back down to 542, 516, it won't be a 4 anymore in my opinion. It'll be a 1 2 1 2. So it still could potentially double correct because I only see 3 waves off this low. So I have it as a 4 here. It only looks like 3 waves up. Now 5 can be an end in diagonal, and that could be 3 waves up and one. So it can't. So that's why it's tricky. So I still would keep the bullish interpretation of this count as like an end in diagonal, but it can double correct, and then that's a 2. Right, that's a 2. CPB. All right, I didn't get that right. Oh, Campbell's Soup. Yeah, we were looking at that a while ago. How's that going on? Trying to come out of its box. Like I said, I think it's like Baxter. It's going to have multi-year gains and then eventually fail. So I think you have years of gains. See, it's coming out. So this low is probably in at 29.49. Hopefully you picked it up when I mentioned that. It's likely to come out. Now the X can go anywhere. It can go to new highs even and then do a flat. So I would trade it as a bull market now. I would trade it as a bull market and not worry about the connector so much at this point. So you're just looking at like a 1 2 1 2, something like that. Something like that. I think you're coming out. Okay. I think you're coming out. I think that was the low. More than likely, that's the low. We can look at the higher cycles and see if we're seeing any. Let's see the weekly cycle broke. So yeah, your correction's over. Right, it's over. So I'll be looking for something like that. OPAD, could you show? All right, I'll try to do my best. OPAD, OfferPad Solutions. All right, could you show the 1 hour divergence if you put the horizontal line on the 3 peaks most recent peer stochastic? Show there's still room to oversold. Do you see the 1 hour, the 4 hour to trend? All right, well, I'll try to answer it and see what way I analyze it answers your question. Well, first thing you only see is 3 waves on the higher time frame. Right, the 4 hour says it's only 3, and the RSI doesn't diverge. So that's just a corrective bounce. Okay, it's a corrective bounce. Corrective bounces are bearish; they're not bullish. That means when this is over, and it's over, as you can see, it can go all the way back down to 0. Go down. It doesn't have to come up. So you're trading the middle area. You're trading an area where it's essentially a coin toss. It's essentially a lottery ticket play. Unless you bought it. Now, if you bought it low, yeah, you can hold, maybe move your stop up to 375. Now, I'm looking at this chart, and what I'm seeing is 3 waves down, right? And that's not a clue either. So for me, it's completely 50-50. Like these are structures I absolutely avoid. Like, again, when I see structures like this, I just delete it. I don't even want to be tempted to trade it. This could do this. So this could do something like that. Let's take a look, like you were saying. So right now we have 45 minutes. I'm sorry, the 4 hour. You're pulling back in 3, but this pullback would still be part of the C cycle because it's not. The 4 hour hasn't corrected. So you're still in the same cycle. So you're still in the uptrend. So you're not. This cycle is still alive. So it could turn in, if this high were to come back and take that high out, we would relabel it as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you have a bullish cycle, and then you would pull back, and then you could buy that pullback. So right now, we could label it this way. And I think looking at the chart, seeing the 3 and the sharp spike up, I think I'm going to expect to see an impulse. It looks impulsive, like even though it's 50-50, I think you're going to get an impulse out of it. and that looks like in 3 as well. So my guess is you're going to make one more high and then pull back again. All right, now let me see what your question is specifically. Again, could you show the 1 hour divergence? All right, so I used the 45-minute divergence, but basically right here, what you can learn from this is on the 4 hour, you see that peak is here. You have a lower peak, so this is impulsive, but you're seeing the impulse of this wave. This wave, you're seeing the 5th wave of this wave. See, 3, 4, 5. You're seeing that 5. And that's because, one, the wave is so big and you're zoomed in. The 45 minutes zooms in. You have to zoom out, to like the 4 hour cycle to now you're not seeing that anymore. Now you're looking at this wave, and that's the 3rd wave. So that's what the 45 tells me, which only reinforces that this is a 5-wave move up, and that's a 5-wave move up. So if you put a horizontal line on the 3 peaks, most recent Pierce stochastic shows there's still room to the oversold. We can look at the stochastic. I mean, 45 minutes still has more upside. The 4 hour looks okay. The daily, look at the daily. It's got a full, so that's why you're going to probably make a 5th wave. Look at the daily cycle. You've already reset it. So it's got a full daily cycle. The weekly cycle is going to have bearish divergence on the 5. So the weekly cycles is what's going to destroy this. The daily cycle is going to give you a 5th wave, and the weekly cycle is going to destroy you. And then when the weekly cycle over, you do it all over again. So that's my analysis, and that's, I hope that helps. All right, NNE. Remember, these analysis is not like a scripture or we're not overly orthodox with our analysis, right? We quickly look, we apply, we have to use a little bit of subjectivity, a little bit of other, our understanding of chart pattern, of just horizontal resistance and support. We have to look at all those things, and then just the market, and overall, and then we make the decision. If you get too orthodox about this stuff and you want to get too algorithmic about how to apply the rules, this is not the system for you. You'll actually hate following me. And I usually tell people, just unsubscribe, because I just don't need your hate mail, because I'm not going to be the trader. I'm not a PhD trader, guys. I'm not a PhD trader. I'm not going to be a chess player. I'm not. There are guys out there you can follow that do that, and you have to pay a premium for that service. And a lot of times they're as confused as anybody, but they have the most beautiful charts. I'll tell you, their charts are like, my God, they're so pretty. But this is, for me, we always cut to the chase. This is why we go through I go through hundreds of symbols, and that's how we're able to do this. Is we can't be so algorithmic and orthodox either, but we do the best we can, and we get through the symbols the best we can. All right, NNE. Looks like I had that marked. Oh, nanonuclear. Yeah, okay. I thought I was familiar with it. Yeah, this is about to have a big breakout, right? Look at this chart. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Look at where we are. I mean, I bet Monday we may be up big on this. I mean, look at that chart. I mean, so your question is, fib retracement showing dip buy opportunity showing at 35. I don't see a dip coming. I see a breakout coming. I mean, unless we're looking at a different chart. Let me see. Dip buy showing 35 for cup and so you're thinking of a cup and handle. Well, this isn't typically a cup and handle formation. This to me looks like just higher high with a pullback and another higher high. This is to me a classic breakout, big breakout. So to me, I don't see a cup and handle here. I don't see a pullback. I see breakout. That's what I see. Now, if it were to pull back, I mean, maybe it could pull back on a flat, and that would be, and I mean, we've seen weird stuff before. I mean, we have seen this type of chart before. It could do that, and then I would be looking for a target of somewhere around $24, 24. But it would have to do it like tomorrow. Like we'd have to have a big market meltdown tomorrow in this sector. So I think this is which we go with. So so I think I don't think there's a dip buy. I think the dip is gone. I think it's a breakout. I think now the chase is on, the squeeze is on. Probably get to 72.80. Okay. Ironically, your question, Newegg is at 80. So yeah, and NNE probably will get to 80. We can look at Newegg real quick. Newegg, and like I mentioned, we bottomed. We're pushing higher as expected. And this one's a little different here. Looks like we have like a 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 1, 2. So 3, 4, 5. So it looks like to me again, you're going to finish a wave here, and then probably have a bigger pullback, right? And then out. And then your question is fib retrace showing dip buy around 30. No, that's the Newegg. Corrective fib retrace showing 80, pulling back to 50. Okay, so yeah, so I see so retracing this leg. Yeah, I mean typically when this wave retraces, it can retrace 50% back, right? Or yeah, 81. So but I think it's likely to exceed that, right, and go to new highs. I mean that's my thinking right now, but I can be wrong. So I do, but I do think, yeah. I mean, I think you see that 3 wave when this 3 comes, you're likely to be around $80, right, or probably a little bit more above it, right, and then you'll be looking for the 4 and the 5. Because once you get that, then you know the low's in. But the corrective move would take you probably to the 50% retrace, and then you would pull back. But you can't. Unfortunately, the market doesn't work like that. You can't predict the market like that. It's literally, that would be me like playing like just going to the casino and playing baccarat or something, and just picking some numbers, hoping like it would just be random. Like I can't. There's no way to predict how the wave's going to look. It will retrace typically 50%. I mean, usually, but my system doesn't look at the market that way. Unfortunately, maybe some other guys do it that way. All right, next is Bitcoin. I have a box between 113 and 111. Yeah, let's take a look at how Bitcoin's doing tonight. Let's take a look. And so it looks like we're heading for this box, right? Double correction on the 2, right? So we're heading for the double correction on the 2. And the box I have, again, I'll double check it. Uh, 113,674, and then 112,046. And again, I'm using the exchange Bitfinex. You may be on a different exchange, but it's roughly the same idea. So this would be a 3-wave move between the 4 and the 2. So this is a more likely place for a reaction. See, we're seeing Solana. Remember, we have that box on Solana here. So I think that's, so market's selling off, and like I said, the Dow's likely to sell off 300 points. 300 points. So are we surprised to see that tonight? No, I'm not. 300 points. Now, if the thing about this is 1, 2, 3, if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it could be, then we'd be looking at more like 1,000 points, and that's a big sell-off in 3 waves. But that'd be a good buying opportunity. So I don't think that's not my primary view, but hey, I wouldn't be surprised we lose 300 points, and then Bitcoin pulls back, to the box. So I'm not surprised to see that. QD. All right. Let's take a look here. Again, another go to zero. We always just kind of trace it from the low and see how things are shaping out. Got a peak here, the weekly cycle. So definitely in some kind of below. So you're in an extended fifth wave, which is always dangerous, but it doesn't look like it's over quite yet. But it may end pretty soon, right? You're in some kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you have 1, 2, right? I think something like that. Now, we may not see the subdivisions perfectly, but I think you should get one more high, and then you lose the whole. Usually, and again, this isn't a fixed rule. You lose the whole 5, and you come back down before you come out. But you see how you've bottomed here. We could also be in this. A, B, C, and then when this 5 finishes, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go to 0, which is likely to do that. So I would expect this given the personality of this wave. So that's what I would think is going to happen. Okay, but I think once you make this 5, you're likely to have a big pullback. Your only hope would be this to take these peaks out, to take this peak out, and if you can't do that, it's a pretty much game over for this pump. Okay, Dogecoin. Yeah, let's take a look at Dogecoin real quick. Let's take a look here. Looking for it. I know I thought I have it somewhere marked. There it is. All right, what do we got going on here? So we have a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. We didn't get 5. That's always a little concerning, but you see that 2. So I would still call this 4. So I would go back and call this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then probably another 1, 2 cycle, something like that. So there'll be a dip buy here for 4. There should be a dip buy at 24 cents basically. Again, another box. Now this could also be this also could be a 1, 2, 1, 2 setup, but we'll have to look at the RSI later to see that. So I would just kind of look at it from this point of view, something like that. But that's a pretty good setup. So it looks like came to all the questions. I'm just going to kind of scan through anything, see what you guys. Yeah. Crypto's double correct in the market, and like I said, crypto's tough. I still think from overall, when I look at crypto right now, let me go back here to Bitcoin. When I look at Bitcoin, it looks like to me we have 3 waves down and 5 waves up, and we 2. And Bitcoin Cash has already taken out the August high. So we already have a crypto coin that has ended the correction. A major, like to me, it's a large cap coin, whether you think it's a major coin or not. It's taken it out. This also led the way last time. Bitcoin Cash led the way and broke the May high before Bitcoin did too, and it led the way higher. So I would rather bet more upside than bet on a big crash. So it's just double correcting, right? We have 5 waves. It's got to double correct. So I'm not too like, oh my God, worked up about it. So I think we'll just kind of see where it ends up and see how this plays out. And that's kind of what I see in crypto right now. Okay, so I'm not too overly concerned right now, guys. So I think that's it. I'm going to wrap it up tonight, guys. And if you're new and you're just listening, I think a lot of members are happy with my service. the ones that typically aren't, like I say, like my service is for you if you just want to kind of get the trades, where the ideas, the boxes, and you get setups, and I give a bunch of setups, and a lot of them get the reaction, some of them don't, but when we don't get them, it's the losses are very minimal compared to the gains are as you can see, pretty significant when we do get it right. But the people that don't want to follow me, you don't want to follow me or subscribe, or you probably never want to listen to me again, is if you're very orthodox about this stuff, very, very, if you're algorithmic, if you're, kind of I call PhD trader, if you're a chess player trader, have to think through, 3 or 4 moves ahead and look like, I'm not the guy for you, and you'll get frustrated, and then you'll end up sending me hate mail, and that's what usually happens. So I've been telling people right away, just don't follow me if that's if that trading is stupid to you, then just don't follow me, because there's a lot of other people that do trade like that, and it's just not my system, it's not my style, and I have a method to what I do, and it's so we can look at the market quickly, we can pick out the opportunities, we don't get attached to things, we move, and we manage risk religiously. Like we're relentless with risk management, money management. We do everything we can to preserve our capital at all costs, and that way we survive even when we may get a trade wrong. And we never chase. We're not breakout traders. We're not momentum traders. Where we're not just trying to catch the next wave 3. We have a strategy that we follow, and if you follow it, you typically are successful, and that's what the system is. So good luck, guys. Good night. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Wouldn't be surprised to see selling tomorrow, honestly, like we're seeing tonight. I wouldn't be surprised to see it. Like I said, we may see like 300 points down. That wouldn't surprise me. If we go deeper, well, okay. Well, now we need to look at the bigger impulse. But again, I'm looking for, maybe we get 300, but hey, it could truncate. I don't know. Like I said, buy the dip in 3 waves has been the mantra we've been doing in the direction of the trend, and it's been working since really July and even earlier May. We've been doing that. So just buy the dip in 3 waves, and the trend has not ended. So why do we want to change? There's no reason to. But at some point, we know all good things will come to an end. We'll need to change our strategy, and that may shock some people, like it did back in July and August 2024, when we had to quickly be nimble and change based on what we saw in the market. But maybe we'll have more and more time to think through it. But we have to be ready, because I do think the UVIX is a potential earthquake that will happen in the next 4 to 5 weeks in the market, because the UVIX is too extended to the downside. It needs to reset, and the end of weekly cycle on the indices needs to reset. It's got to do that. So you need to be prepared for selling, which is why if you're going to start a new position, you may find it underwater in 4 or 5 weeks, unless you scalp it and get out on these 4s and 5s, which we're seeing 4s and 5s. I think a lot of 4s and 5s. All right, guys, that's it. Good night, and talk to you guys later. I appreciate joining. And shot, by the way, maybe it could make one more low. It's bottomed as of now. It's in the area of a buy. It could make one more low if it has bullish divergence with that one low. It's good still. And I explained to lead members that setup on shot.